Do you know how the greatest salesperson in the world actually sold? Before I get to that, I want to ask you this. Who is the best salesperson in the world? Who do you think is the best salesperson in the world? There are a lot of good ones out there, but it ain't the Wolf on Wall Street. It's not Grant Cardone. The greatest salesperson in the world was the one who created the brain. If you're a believer, if you're a God-fearing human, and you love Jesus, or you consider yourself a Christian, I want to challenge you. Think about who the best salesperson would be. Doesn't it make sense that the person who created everything, including the human brain, and then turned himself into a man and came and walked the earth, that person who created the brain and then actually communicated to the humans that he created, don't you think that would be the best salesperson and the best communicator? If you created a car, you would know how to best utilize it and best maintain it to maximize its performance. If you created the man, you would know how to best communicate to them. Jesus Christ was the greatest communicator of all time, and I'm going to show you the evidence that supports that, more importantly, so that you can become a better communicator. If you're looking to sell, if you're looking to lead people, if you're looking just to create great relationships, I got you. This channel and this series is all about how would Jesus sell. So welcome aboard. Would love for you to subscribe, not miss a moment of it, because my job or my goal is that for me, I'm an introvert. I grew up an introvert, middle child, scared to talk to people, scared to ask for money. So the idea that I have been able to speak on platforms all over the world, build businesses that require sales and asking for money, write books, is because I learned these principles. Nobody comes out of the womb knowing how to communicate effectively. Nobody comes out of the womb knowing how to sell. Nobody comes out of the womb learning how to have people or get people to follow them or inspire them. So I believe that we shouldn't be looking to the ways of man. We should look at the King of Kings. He did it the best. So what I want to break down for you, particularly in this video, this first of this series, How Would Jesus Sell? I want to talk to you about one concept that you could take with you right now, and that is this. The number one thing you can start doing to become more like Jesus, not just spiritually, but physically, actually to be able to get a result like Jesus did as it relates to human interactions, is that the one thing Jesus did so well is he knew his audience. He knew who he was speaking to. And so I want to ask you a question. Do you know your audience, and do you speak to them individually? Or maybe you're speaking to groups, maybe you're on webinars, maybe you're on stages and speaking in settings to a one-to-many. Do you know your audience? Do you know their fears, their frustrations, their emotions, their needs, their wants, desires? The more you know your audience, the more you could speak to it. So I want to break this down just real briefly because a couple things here. Think about the story of Jesus with the woman at the well. Failed relationships, cultural rejection, and shame. What did Jesus do? He asked her for water. The first thing he did, knowing her, he's not going to talk about her shame, asked her for water. She gave to him. He put himself, it's brilliant if you look at it. He asked her for something so she could give to him. It made the relationship not be about what she couldn't do, but what she could do. Then he addressed her thirst for love and belonging. We call this, I teach this to clients, called labeling. He first addressed the fact that she wants love and wants belonging. He didn't talk about the shame and the things that she's done that are negative or not really, wasn't good decisions. He talked about what she did want. And so he talked about her thirst for love and belonging, what all humans want. Again, remember, he created the human. He knows what she wants. And then he spoke to her to her deepest need, not her deepest shame. He knew her audience. He knew his audience. And then he was able to speak to her in a way that she would understand, the way that she would receive, and that the way that she would then change. Next one, I'm only going through a couple of these. Nicodemus, this is this smart leader, this rabbi. James 3 is funny because I just was going over this in my Bible study literally this morning. A respected religious leader, he met him at night because he didn't want, to put any attention on Nicodemus. He didn't want him to have shame that he's meeting with this rabbi. And Nicodemus called him rabbi, which is very respected because Jesus wasn't a trained rabbi. And so he challenged him intellectually and spiritually about being born again, because Nicodemus said, do you go back in the mom's womb? How do you be born again? Because Jesus was challenging all the leaders, saying, you need to be born again, spiritually born again. There's a new way. There's a new king in town. And he was humble, right? But he knew this is the way. This is life. This is eternity. And so here's the kicker. Jesus knew he needed to be educated and challenged intellectually. Nicodemus was smart. He needed to be met where he was at. I'm not just going to give you a storytelling to believe this anecdote. I want to actually show you the apologetics. Some people that need this, and I was been one of them, the apologetics behind why this matters and what's the truth and is there prophecy and why should we listen to the Bible, right? So he met him where he was at. Last one here is Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, the tax collector, a despised wealthy man hiding in a tree, just trying to get a look at Jesus. Jesus called him by name. Our favorite word in the entire world is our name. Start calling your people by name. If you know them by name, call them by name. When I teach leaders and entrepreneurs how to lead dinners or do workshops or go do presentations, if you can pick out a few people in the audience and you know your name, it literally blows their mind. They're like, how would you know my name? And it fascinates them, and it makes them realize you pay attention to them. And so calling people out by name, even if you're one-on-one, call people out by their name. He invited himself to his house, Jesus did, and then he gave him dignity before demanding change. He gave him respect. Jesus saw him when others rejected him. In other words, Jesus made him feel understood. And here's the one thing, if I want this big takeaway, people don't buy because they understand everything about what they're buying. They buy because they feel understood. Research shows that we all buy emotionally, we justify with logic. The way that starts, the way you could become a better salesperson of yourself or your offer, your product, or just a better human, a better friend, a better spouse, is that you seek to understand them and then you make them feel understood. That's when they buy. That's full trust. We can measure it in the bloodstream. It's called oxytocin. You increase this hormone when you make them feel understood. So think about your audience. As I say, who do you serve? What are their fears? What are their frustrations, needs, desires, wants? Speak to that pain point. When you speak to that pain point, they listen because they feel edified. They feel understood. You get them. Brand builder Rory Vaden, he said this: you are perfectly positioned to help the person that you once were. You're perfectly positioned to help the person that you once were. This is why your story matters. Your signature story is going to influence and be, nothing even touches it. It's more impactful than anything else if you know how to tell it appropriately. And we teach this in our programs. Why? Because Jesus was a great storyteller, but also we know that your story helps people feel understood. And then it positions your offer, your product, your service, or yourself as the only solution that they need and that they're gonna want and desire. So there you have it. This is the series, How Would Jesus Sell? He was the greatest servant of all time. He was the greatest leader of all time. He was the greatest communicator, and he was the greatest salesperson of all time. I'm going to subscribe to you that you should start looking at this guy, Jesus. And so I'm here for you. I'm going to teach you as much as I know so you can actually get better results in your life, in your business, and everything in between. Click the subscribe button if you'd like to. I'm not saying you need to, but would love to make sure you get updated as videos drop. I'm going to give you a tip every single time, and it's going to be all about how Jesus would sell in today's economy. So I'm Dr. Dan. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one.